Most nights felt ordinary in Juniper Ridge, but that night, something in the air carried a quiet tension, the kind that makes a person pause without knowing why. And for Leora Vance, that feeling started the moment she noticed the porch light flicker outside her window right before midnight struck. She had just finished closing her books after a long day at the observatory. Her mind was tired, her eyes heavy, but her heart kept wandering. It drifted back to the words someone had left unsaid earlier that day, someone she had known for years and still never fully understood. Cade Albright. The calm, steady man who managed to disappear into the edges of every room, yet somehow remained the one person she never forgot. They were neighbors since childhood, friends since forever, and lately, strangers in all the ways that hurt quietly. Leora pulled her sweater around her shoulders and stepped onto the porch. The wind carried the soft scent of pine, and somewhere down the street, a lone street lamp buzzed with a stubborn glow. The entire town felt half asleep, but her thoughts wouldn't let her rest. Her phone buzzed. One message. From him. Are you awake? She frowned softly, confused. Cade never reached out this late. He was steady, predictable, thoughtful. Midnight was not his hour. Yes, everything okay? She replied. A moment passed, then another. Just when she thought he wouldn't answer, her screen lit up. Can we talk? I'm outside. Her breath caught. She stepped forward, peering past the railing, and there he was, standing under that flickering porch light like he'd been carved out of shadow and hesitation. His hands were tucked into the pockets of his jacket, and his eyes lifted toward her with a look she had never seen on him before. Something weighed on him, enough for him to show up at nearly midnight. She walked down the steps slowly. Cade, what happened? He shook his head, not in dismissal, but like he was gathering courage from the night itself. I didn't want to wait until morning, he said. His voice was quiet but firm, the kind that crept under a person's defenses without trying. Leora felt her heartbeat thrum in her ears. You're scaring me a little. What's going on? Cade's gaze held hers for a long second, long enough for her to see a storm behind it, something caught between fear and truth. I need to tell you something, he said, something I should have said a long time ago. She swallowed. The midnight air felt suddenly heavier. Cade took a slow breath. Today, when you left the observatory, I almost called your name. I almost told you then, but I froze. I've been freezing for months, Leora. Her chest tightened. Tell me what? He looked away for a moment, as if trying to steady himself. When he finally met her eyes again, there was nothing guarded left in him. Leora, there's a reason I've been distant. A reason I've been pulling back when I should have been closer. And I can't keep hiding it. She waited, every part of her bracing for something she couldn't name. Cade's voice dropped to almost a whisper. At midnight, every day for the past year, there's something I've been doing, something you don't know about. And it's because of you. Her breath caught. Because of me? Cade, what does that even mean? He stepped a little closer, close enough that she could see the uncertainty in his eyes, the way his fingers trembled just slightly. I'm not sure how you'll react, he said, but I can't go another day without telling you, not after tonight. The clock inside Leora's house began chiming the hour, soft, steady rings marking 12, the exact moment he spoke again. Leora, every midnight, But he stopped. Just stopped. As if the final word refused to leave his mouth. Leora felt her heart drop, suspended on the edge of something she didn't understand but desperately needed to. Cade, she whispered, what were you going to say? His eyes glimmered with something raw, something honest. I'll tell you, he murmured. I promise. But before I do, there's something I need you to hear first." And right then, the porch light flickered one last time before going out completely, leaving them in the quiet glow of the moon. A silence full of unspoken truths hung between them, and Leora knew whatever he said next would change everything. If you're enjoying this story so far, please like the video and subscribe for more heartfelt tales. The moon cast a pale glow over the quiet street, brushing silver across Cade's face as he stood there, still holding on to the sentence he couldn't bring himself to say. Leora watched him closely, her breath rising and falling in small, uneven waves. Something in his expression, some fragile honesty, made her chest ache. "Cade," she whispered, "you said there was something I needed to hear before anything else. So tell me." He rubbed the back of his neck, eyes drifting upward as though searching the night sky for courage. "I don't know how to start," he admitted softly. "It's one thing to think about saying something, and another thing to actually let it out." Leora took a small step closer. "You came all the way here at midnight. That means it matters. Just talk to me." Her voice steadied him. He nodded once. "For the past year," he began, "I've been leaving the ridge behind town right before midnight. Every night. No exceptions." She blinked. "The ridge? At that hour? Why?" His jaw tightened. "Because something happened there. Something that changed the way I saw everything." A chill moved down Leora's spine, though not from fear, more from the gravity in his voice. "What happened?" Cade hesitated again, looking toward the distant hills as though they were calling him back. "That night," he said, "I saw something. Something I knew you wouldn't believe unless you heard the whole truth." Leora's heart picked up. "Cade, you're worrying me." He exhaled. "I don't want to worry you. I just don't want to keep hiding the reason anymore." She wrapped her arms around herself, bracing against the cool breeze drifting through the pines. "Tell me what you saw." Cade looked down at his shoes, trying to gather himself. "Before I tell you, I need you to understand something. You've always been the one person who kept me grounded, even when nothing around me made sense, even when I felt like I was slipping away from everything I knew." His eyes lifted back to hers, steady and sincere. "You deserve every truth I've kept to myself." Leora felt her throat tighten. "Then tell me the truth." He drew in a slow breath. "A year ago, I went out to the ridge because I couldn't sleep. I'd been restless, thinking about you, thinking about how everything felt like it was changing between us." She felt her cheeks warm despite the cold. "Cade." "No," he said gently. "This part matters." She nodded. "When I reached the ridge," he continued, "I saw a burst of light across the sky. Not like a falling star. Not like anything I'd ever seen. It was slow, controlled, almost like it was searching for something." Leora felt a soft shiver. "Like a signal?" "Yes." His voice almost trembled. "And right after it passed, I heard something. A low hum, faint but clear. It felt like it moved right through me." She stared at him, trying to piece his words together. "Cade, you think it was, what, something not from here?" "That's the part I didn't know how to tell you," he admitted, "because I wasn't sure. Not until it kept happening." Her breath caught. "Kept happening?" He nodded. "Every night, at the same time. Every night, just before or right at midnight. The same hum, the same light, the same strange movements through the sky." Leora swallowed slowly. She had heard rumors from the observatory, little things, scattered reports of odd readings, unexpected blips across the horizon, but none so precise, none so personal. "And you never told anyone?" she asked. "No one would have believed me," he said, "except maybe you. And I couldn't bring it up without explaining why I was even out there thinking about you in the first place." Leora's breath hitched, her pulse fluttered. Cade, why were you thinking about me? He looked at her with an honesty that stripped every wall between them. Because everything about that night, every part of it, felt connected to you. I know that sounds impossible, but every time the light came back, every night I stood out there waiting, I thought of you. I always thought of you. The wind rustled the branches above them, filling the silence with a soft whisper. Leora's voice barely carried. Cade, what does all this mean? He stepped closer, close enough that she could see the tiny tremor in his breath. It means, he said lowly, what happened on the ridge last night changed everything again. And it wasn't just light this time. There was something else, something I didn't expect, something I can't explain alone. Her heartbeat quickened. What did you see? Cade's gaze locked onto hers, full of urgency and something deeper, something vulnerable. Leora, last night, the light stopped moving. It hovered over the ridge. And then, he paused, the words catching. And then what? She whispered. His voice dropped to a trembling whisper. It called your name. Leora's breath froze the moment Cade spoke those words. The night suddenly felt too quiet, as if even the wind had stopped to listen. She stared at him, searching his face for any hint of exaggeration or panic, anything that could explain what he just said. But he looked steady. Haunted, yes. Troubled, absolutely. But steady. Cade, that isn't possible, her voice wavered. You must have misheard. I wanted to think that too, he whispered. I tried to convince myself I imagined it, but I didn't. The porch remained dark around them, only moonlight touching their faces, as Leora tried to swallow the rising tightness in her chest. Describe it, she said, gently. Exactly what happened. Cade nodded, drawing a shaky breath. I went to the ridge like I always do. Everything felt normal at first. The quiet, the shadows, the way the stars hung low. But then the light appeared, earlier than usual. It didn't drift across the sky this time. It moved purposefully, directly above me. Leora felt a cold ripple slide over her skin. Did you feel anything? Yes. His answer was immediate. What did it feel like? He hesitated. Like the air around me thickened. Not enough to hurt, just enough to stop me from moving for a moment. And then the hum started, louder than ever. She studied him closely. And you're certain you heard my name? Cade nodded once, slowly, clear as if someone whispered right behind me. A soft voice, not loud, not sharp, just certain. Her heartbeat thudded in her ears. She tried to ground herself by gripping the porch railing, but her fingers trembled. Cade, none of this makes sense. Why me? Why would anything at all, call my name? His gaze softened, filled with something that made her chest tighten even more. That's what I need your help figuring out. You work at the observatory. You know the sky better than anyone in this town. If something is happening, you'd be the one who could make sense of it. She shook her head, but that's the thing. I can't make sense of it. I've never heard anything like this. You felt it too, he said quietly, earlier today. Leora blinked. What do you mean? When you stepped outside the observatory this afternoon, he continued, you paused. You looked over your shoulder, like you felt something watching you. She froze. She had paused. She had felt something. A tug, a strange stillness in the air, like someone murmured her name just beyond her hearing. Her pulse skittered. How did you know that? She whispered. Because, he answered, the moment you did, the ridge lit up again, at the exact same time. The world seemed to tilt for a moment. Cade, how long have you been keeping all of this from me? He looked ashamed. Too long. I kept telling myself I'd explain it when I knew more, when I understood it myself, but it kept getting stronger, clearer, and I realized I wasn't protecting you by staying silent, I was only distancing you. Leora stepped back, her mind racing. Cade, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't need you to say anything, he murmured. I just need you to understand why I couldn't wait until morning. She closed her eyes for a moment, breathing slowly as she tried to calm her racing thoughts. When she opened them, Cade was watching her with a look she had never seen before, quiet, desperate, hopeful, all wrapped into something fragile. "What do you want from me now?" she asked. He didn't hesitate this time. "I want you to come with me, back to the ridge, tonight." Leora's heart slammed against her ribs. "Kate, it's almost 1 in the morning, and you're asking me to go towards something that called my name from the sky." "I know how it sounds," he said, "but if it's going to happen again, it'll be soon. And if there's even the smallest chance that you can help us understand this, I think we have to try." She stared at him. He wasn't joking. He wasn't confused. He wasn't imagining things. He was asking her to step into something unknown, something that might change everything she understood about herself, about him, about the world around them. "Cade," her voice softened, "are you sure it's safe?" He took a small step closer. "I won't let anything happen to you, ever. You know that." Her breath shook. And he meant it. She could see it in his eyes, fear and certainty woven together in a way that told her he had been carrying this burden far too long. "Please," he said quietly, "come with me." Leora looked toward the distant ridge, just a faint line against the night sky. The wind brushed her cheek like an invitation. Something in her chest shifted. Fear, yes, but also something deeper. Something that whispered that she needed to know the truth, whatever it was. She turned back to Cade. "Give me a moment to grab my coat," she said softly. A flicker of relief crossed his face, but beneath it, a new tension stirred. Because both of them knew. Once they stepped onto that ridge together, nothing would be the same again. Leora slipped inside her house and grabbed her thickest coat, though she barely felt the cold anymore. Her hands trembled slightly as she zipped it up. Not from fear exactly, more from the weight of everything Cade had said. A light calling her name from the sky. A hum that moved through him. A pattern repeating every midnight. It was too strange to dismiss and too precise to ignore. When she stepped back outside, Cade was waiting at the bottom of the steps, standing perfectly still, as if afraid she might change her mind. The moment their eyes met, he let out a quiet breath he'd been holding. "Ready?" he asked softly. She nodded. "As ready as I can be." They started down the empty street, walking side by side through the cool silence of Juniper Ridge's sleeping hours. Porch lights were off, windows dark, the whole town wrapped in an eerie stillness. Their footsteps sounded too loud on the pavement. "How long does it take to get to the ridge?" she murmured. "About 10 minutes," he answered. "It'll be quiet up there. Clear view of the sky." Leora glanced at him. "You've done this walk every night?" "Every single one," he said, "no matter the weather." She swallowed, feeling something warm stir in her chest. "You really went through all of that alone?" He looked down briefly. "At first, I thought I was protecting you by not saying anything, but after last night, I realized I'd been wrong, painfully wrong. Whatever this is, it involves you, and you deserve to know." His honesty settled between them like a soft pulse. They reached the edge of town, the road giving way to a narrow dirt path winding up through the pines. The trees rose tall around them, their silhouettes swaying gently in the night breeze. Leora stepped closer to Cade without thinking, and he slowed just enough to match her pace. "What if nothing happens tonight?" she asked quietly. "Then we keep coming back until it does," he said. "I don't want to run from this anymore." They walked deeper into the trees, the scent of pine growing stronger. It felt peaceful, but not empty, almost as though something unseen was following their steps, watching quietly. When they reached the top of the ridge, Leora stopped. The view opened before them, a wide stretch of sky, clear and dark, stars scattered across it like someone had flung silver dust into the night. "This is where you've been standing?" she whispered. "Right here," he said, pointing to a flat patch of earth where the grass had bent in a soft circle. "Every night." Leora crouched, touching the flattened grass gently. It was cold, but not in a natural way. There was something different about it, something faintly charged. She stood slowly. "Cade, do you feel that?" His eyes widened slightly. "Yeah, that's new." A low hum stirred at the edge of her hearing, so faint she thought it might be her imagination. It wasn't steady. It pulsed, soft and patient, like a heart beating somewhere far away. Then Cade turned his face toward the sky. "It's early," he murmured. "The light never comes this soon." Leora followed his gaze. The sky looked calm at first, nothing but stars blinking quietly. Then one flickered, just once, brighter than the rest. "Cade," she whispered. "I see it." The hum grew slightly louder, still gentle, like something waking up. "That's how it starts," he said. One flicker. A second flicker came, then a third. Leora felt her heartbeat climb. Her breath thinned. The air tightened around them, not suffocating, but charged, alive. "Cade, is this what it was like last night?" she asked. He shook his head slowly. "No, last night it was stronger." The hum pulsed again, this time closer, resonating through the ground beneath their feet. A soft wind lifted Leora's hair, though the trees around them remained perfectly still. "Cade," she whispered, "something's wrong. The air feels—" She didn't finish, because the moment she spoke, the stars directly above them shifted. Shifted. Not fell, not drifted. Shifted. Like something had parted the night sky from inside. And from that quiet tear of movement, a soft glow spread outward, as though the sky itself was taking a slow, deep breath. "Cade," Leora trembled, "it's happening." He stepped in front of her instinctively, shielding her, even though they both knew he couldn't stop whatever this was. The glow brightened, forming a gentle ring in the sky, a halo of pale silver light that pulsed in perfect rhythm with the hum. Leora pressed a hand to her chest, startled as she felt her heartbeat syncing with the sound, matching it, beat for beat, as if her body recognized something she had never known. And then the hum changed, softened, shifted into something that almost sounded like a whisper. Leora froze. She knew that tone. She heard it before, once, faintly, behind her at the observatory. Her name. "Cade," she breathed, "it's calling again." He reached for her hand, gripping it tightly as the light above them intensified, the whisper drawing closer. But this time, it didn't say her name. It said something else, something meant for her alone, something that made Leora's knees weaken as the world tilted around her. The whisper drifted through the ridge like a breath across glass, soft, precise, unmistakably directed at her. Leora's heart stumbled as she clutched Cade's hand, her voice barely a thread. "Cade, did you hear that?" He shook his head, eyes locked on the sky. "I heard the hum, but not the words. What did it say?" Leora swallowed. "It didn't call my name this time. It said, 'Come closer.'" The wind stirred again, brushing against her coat, gentle yet firm, as if nudging her forward. Cade stepped in front of her. "No, you're not going anywhere near that alone." "I'm not going alone," she said softly. "You're right here." He hesitated, torn between fear and trust, then nodded. "Then we go together." They stepped forward in sync, each foot pressing into the cool earth as the light in the sky widened. The pulsing halo above them thinned at the edges, reshaping itself into a narrow beam, soft, shimmering, almost like falling moonlight. It wasn't threatening. It wasn't harsh. It was inviting. Leora exhaled slowly. Cade, this doesn't feel dangerous. No, he admitted, but I still don't like how it knows your voice or your name. The beam brightened, lowering just enough for its glow to touch the tops of the pines. The hum deepened, warm, steady, almost like a melody without words. And then Leora blinked, because the sound changed again. Not a whisper, not her name, not a command. A memory. Her mother's voice, clear, gentle, familiar in a way that made her knees weaken. Leora, do not be afraid. Her breath hitched hard. Cade, that voice, that's impossible, he finished for her. Leora, this isn't real. It can't be. She shook her head, emotions tightening her chest. My mother used to say that exact phrase when I had nightmares. She's been gone for years, Cade. There's no way. The beam shimmered again, brighter than before, the hum lifting into a soft tremor of warmth. Leora felt the sound move through her ribs, her heartbeat syncing with it. Cade stepped closer, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. Whatever it is, it's reading something. Maybe your memories, maybe something deeper. Leora closed her eyes, letting the wind brush over her. It doesn't feel cruel. It doesn't feel wrong. I won't let it take you, Cade whispered fiercely. It's not taking me, she whispered back. It's trying to reach me. The beam changed direction, just slightly, resting now right at her feet, illuminating the ground around her in a faint, silvery glow. The hum softened again, and then a voice, not her mother's, not anyone she knew. Something calm, something resonant, something deeply aware. Leora Vance, you hear what others do not. You see what others overlook. Come forward. Cade tightened his grip on her hand. You don't have to go. She looked at him, her voice trembling but certain. Cade, I think this is why it called me. Not to frighten me, not to pull me away, but because it needs something, or it wants to tell us something. Tell you something, he corrected. I only ever heard the hum. I never heard words. She turned to him fully, her gaze softening. You heard enough to bring me here, to trust me with something you didn't understand. That means everything. Something in his expression shifted, an unspoken emotion he had held for months rising near the surface. Leora, I couldn't keep hiding the truth from you. Not about the ridge, not about the lights, and not about the real reason I kept coming back here. She held her breath. Cade. He stepped closer, the beam's glow brushing along his shoulders as he faced her, voice low. I don't think it wanted to take anything from us, she murmured. I think it wanted to give us something. Cade brushed his thumb across the back of her hand. What do you think it gave us? Leora looked at him, truly looked at him, and felt the answer rise in her chest. Clarity, she whispered. And as they stood together on the ridge under the soft, settling stars, a quiet certainty settled over both of them. Whatever waited beyond that moment, whatever truth lay inside the whispering light, they would face it as they were now, united, awake, and finally unafraid.